Welcome to another episode of Silence is Golden, the show where we help you start and grow your very own WordPress consulting business. I'm Simon Kelly.
And I'm otherwise engaged with my iPhone.
That's totally fine. Today we'll be talking about one of the most important things that you can do in your business for yourself and for your clients, and that's asking the right questions. We'll share with you some tools to help you do that.
Which questions? What do you mean?
Well, you'll find out in a sec.
What questions do you ask?
Why? Why is that important?
What questions do you
What
ask?
else is important? What else do you think?
But why am I supposed to ask some questions?
He's doing it right now. It's very good. Yeah.
Hey,
we'll show you
Siri.
how to do it, except we'll give you a framework to do it properly so you can get to the real reasons behind clients wanting projects so you can deliver success and be positioned as the authority. All that and a lot more. Stay with us.
I'll tell you what's going to happen. Welcome to this special video series, The 10 Commandments of Freelancing, where we are revealing the 10 Commandments of Freelancing. Did you get that? This is commandment number 3, ask better questions. In order to deliver the right solution to your clients, you need to understand the complete picture. Doesn't matter whether you're taking photos for a corporate client or building websites or doing video editing. If you don't understand the complete picture, how can you possibly provide the exact right solution?
Absolutely. Harvard Business Review had a study and they said asking a lot of questions unlocks learning and improves relationship building.
Absolutely. The more that you understand about your client and the more your client reveals to you, the more they will trust you as a freelancer. Reminds me of a great story of one of our members, Jasmine Andrews, who started off doing some training for a non-profit client and started asking questions. She's a little bit like me. She just needs to know everything that's going on, why, who, where, when, how, what. And asking those questions revealed some other things and opportunities in the business that she could help them with. She generated over $200,000 a year in revenue as a work-from-home mum from her spare bedroom. Went from freelancer to highly paid business consultant just by asking lots of questions.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's really like not doing this is like going to the doctor and just telling them half of your symptoms and expecting them to come up with the solution for you.
Correct. So we've developed a framework here called Go Wide, Go Deep, which allows us to ask better questions, because if you've never done this before, it can be a little bit scary. And the framework goes like this. When a client comes along and says, hey, I need X, the first question you ask them is why? And then they tell you why, which is usually a superficial answer and not the truth. It's only part of the truth. And then you say, why else? And then they'll tell you something else. And then you ask, why else? And then they might look at you strange. And you say something like, hey, think of me as a doctor. I can't give you the right medicine unless you tell me all the symptoms. And you keep asking why else until they run out of things to say. And then that's called going wide. And then when they've finished with their reasons, you say, okay, out of all the things you've told me, what is the most important? And that is now called going deep. And they'll tell you this is the most important reason. And you say, why is that the most important? Why else? Why else? And you keep going around in this circular motion until you understand the absolute truth of what it is that's motivating them in the project that you're working on together. Right? And then you should have all the information you need to design the perfect solution. So we hope that helps. Leave us a comment under this video and tell us the most valuable thing that you learned in this video, and tag someone in who you think might enjoy the show. Like us and share it around, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video, commandment number 4 of freelancing to help you find freedom. Reminds me of a date that I went on once.
Just gonna leave it at that?
Yep.
Why does it remind you of that?
Well, that's a very good question, Simon.
Thanks, buddy.
Ba-dum. Those freelancing videos are bloody fun, aren't they?
They're fun. They're good to
They are
look at.
fun.
I don't remember seeing that guy in the Y thing. It was a while ago since they were put together.
Yes, that's right.
But they're good.
They were edited in stealth mode.
Yeah.
We're wearing
Love it.
almost matching shirts again.
Well,
is there a memo that...
The brief, yeah, there was a memo. Remember? The brief was no like greys and light colours. Yeah.
Because in the freelancing
to...
videos, we're wearing kind of very similar shirts as well, the light blue thing going on, which we don't talk about these things.
Yeah.
We're just in sync.
Yeah. Exactly.
So, I'm probably going to sneeze at some point during the show because I've got some allergies going on because we live in Melbourne. We live in Melbourne, the capital allergy of the world. You're supposed to ask me questions about the allergies. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you're not telling me about your first date. I'm really interested about
No, it was a first date. It wasn't my first date. Might have been her first date, I don't know. Hope probably not. I mean, we're in our 30s, so I hope it wasn't her first date. Although on reflection, she was a bit awkward, so it could have been her first date. Anyway, what the hell has that got to do with anything?
You said it reminded you.
Well, just asking lots of questions. I tend to ask lots of questions on dates, on first dates.
Yeah, you pause to listen to the answer?
Absolutely.
That's nice.
I want to try and see. My mission on a first date is to rule them out as quickly as possible. Yeah. Just put a line. I don't date anymore because I'm married with children. But when I was dating, my mission when I date, it's kind of like going and looking at properties that, you go to an open inspection. My mission is to walk in and just cross it off the list. You just get there. No parking. Done. See you, mate. Nice. Oh, you went? No parking. Go on, see you. Tiny backyard. Only one bathroom. No, sorry. Sunken lounge. No, sorry.
They'd probably cross you off the list if you said, I treat dating like open for inspections.
Yeah. Hi. So, just ask lots of questions. Yeah. And just try, really? Sorry, this isn't going to work. You got any friends you can send along?
This is
this is the dating, not the open for inspection thing now. We're talking about the dating thing now. Yeah. So I ask lots of questions, what do you do? Oh, yeah. Do you enjoy it? No, I hate it. Oh, but you do it. You work full time in a job that you hate. Yeah. Sorry. You got any friends you can send along?
Yeah.
And so I ask lots of questions, and then I ask questions about the questions.
Excellent.
Right?
Which is exactly like your client meetings. The problem is that a lot of people just bend to the whim of their clients. Client says, can you come over and meet at the cafe? Client says, can you do this?
Bend to the whim.
Yeah, that makes sense, doesn't it?
Bend to the whim.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a hashtag.
Just roll with it.
Bend to the whim. That's got to be a hashtag, doesn't it?
Yes.
If you're dating right now, on your what's the thing where you swipe, the Tinder, right? Your Tinder app or whatever the new bloody thing is, I don't know, whatever's replaced Tinder.
Yeah.
Can you just hashtag bend to the whim?
Might be watching.
That's right.
This, like,
I
have no idea what it is.
Bend to the whim. Can you just put bend to the whim in your profile and just see how that bumps your swipes? I'd like to split test that.
Bumps your swipes.
Can
that be another hashtag?
Can you do? Is it possible
bend
to do
women? Bump your swipes.
Is it possible to do conversion rate optimization on your Tinder profile?
Absolutely.
Really? You can't split test it, surely.
Well, I mean, you could do 1 month like this, 1 month like that.
A month? I'd want to do like 24 hours. What's the busy period over Tinder? Is it Friday night, Saturday night, early hours, Sunday morning? Is it? I bet you the busiest period. Well, just in general. I mean, does anyone, any data analysts that we have any big data on Tinder? I reckon the busiest times for Tinder swipes would be early hours. I reckon between 11 p.m. and say 3 a.m. Friday night, Saturday morning, and the same for Saturday night, Sunday morning.
What hours do you say? 12 and 3?
11 p.m. to 3 a.m.
Oh, right,
I reckon they're the busiest. It's the booty call.
Yeah, that's right.
It's the booty call.
I didn't want to say it.
So what I would do is
bending to the whim at that time of the day.
I would split test. You'd have to do it on a Friday night. You couldn't change it for the Saturday night because it's different parameters, right? Yeah. So you'd have to do Friday night, and you'd have to take into account the weather as well, and the football. If there was a good football game on and the weather was really bad, you weren't getting any swipes. It might not be because you've added bend to the whim to your profile. It might just be because the weather's shit and everyone's inside watching football.
When you're A/B testing, you have to just test one thing at a time, right? So bend to the whim, do that for a couple of days, do that for 1 weekend, see how you go.
That's right.
Yeah, but the weather's got to be the same.
Weather's got to be the same.
The footy has to be the same.
Correct.
Okay, you got to test
all other things.
Be a good scientist.
All other things being equal. That's right.
Exactly.
This sneeze is brewing, by the way. I'm just warning.
I can see just slowly starting to cry.
So bend to the whim. So you're bending to the whim now of your clients?
No, you're not. Some people do, and you shouldn't. As a consultant, you should not be doing that. You should be the one taking control, and you should be positioned as the authority. And if you keep bending to the whim of your clients' expectations, questions, and all the things that they want, then they will just continue to ask you things and expect you to just jump when they tell you to.
I love it so much how you try really hard to stay on script.
I try less and less,
as
but
much
it's
as
fun.
I just
try
going on this journey with you. You're always just coming back to what's on the script here. I have no idea what's on the script.
Can't see anyway because you're like half sneezing.
That's right. Part of my job. I don't care what's on the script. I just listen to him and then respond.
Yeah, exactly. So a lot of the trouble that I see is that people get frustrated, and please, give us a like or a comment if you've experienced this as well. So that the client will get the design back and they'll say like, oh, this doesn't look right, or it's not what we expected, or can you make it pop more?
This is going on in our Facebook group right now. This morning I was walking the dog at like 6:30, and the Facebook group,
exactly.
I can't remember who it is, but
Grant's post?
Grant,
Yeah.
Grant Conscious. He's like, I've just sent the designs off to the client. They've come back and they've said, oh, that sucks. We want something more exciting. Can you make it pop? And
excitement was actually the word. Yes.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Now, you would have thought that we'd had a meeting about this, but we didn't. He's actually got a screenshot of the Facebook group up there, the Grant's post.
No, this is the actual group. No, screenshot.
It's the actual post. They literally said at their site, oh no, this was another one. Oh yeah, so had a recent project. After the initial designs were sent to the client, they basically said this sucks. They were well designed from a user experience and overall website design perspective, but each to their own. I told the client we're not a good fit and I fired them. Well done, Grant Conscious. It's exactly what you should do. But the problem here is the client doesn't trust Grant. That's what's going on. And that's because, could I be as bold to suggest that Grant hasn't quite positioned himself correctly with that client?
I believe so. I believe
Sorry,
that's where
Grant,
it's at.
but it's all your fault.
It's exactly that. I did an extremely lengthy comment there, where I'm talking about exactly that. So the story that I basically say is like, you need to be able to know what success looks like. Yeah. So if let's say you're a plumber and you have been hired to fix someone's hot water system
Or blocked toilet.
Sure. Yeah.
Blocked toilet.
It's very easy to be like, is it still blocked?
Yeah.
Yes. Well, then you haven't done your job.
It's really, I mean, it's actually not even, I don't even care about the blocked toilet. I just want to be able to take a dump, right? I just want to be able to take a shit. And if my toilet's blocked, I can't take a shit. Well, I can, but eventually there's going to be nowhere left for me to shit, right?
And then the hot water's broken, so you can't shower and cleanse after.
So success is not an unblocked toilet.
It's like a little child. It's a little child. Success. Unblock their toilet. Figure out what the unblocking looks like, and then help them achieve success with that. So anyone still watching, can you please let us know? Would you like Troy to wipe his eyes and come back to the show? Or continue as we
Fantastic. You know, it took us 12 minutes
to get this far.
To get to talking about taking a shit.
That's not
12
bad.
minutes. I reckon we could do it quicker next time. I reckon we could do it quicker next time. Yeah. Because the unblocked toilet is just a vehicle. It's just the mechanism, right? That's actually not what I want.
To help you achieve your outcome.
Correct. What I actually want is just to be able to take a dump.
This is a metaphor. This is what's going on here.
This is totally a metaphor.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. You want the outcome.
Right? I want it's correct.
Yeah. And this is getting in my way. This is my roadblock.
That's right. It is correct. Lots of that's right. Roadblock. I want the outcome. It's blocked.
My results are.
Yeah. I need to be able
lighter.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
The outcome is I'm not full of shit.
Yeah. Well.
Anymore.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yes.
I'm not constipated.
Yes, exactly.
Constipation is failure.
Yeah.
Right?
Constipation, exactly.
So they're the kind of conversations you need to have with your client. Right?
Unblock your constipated client.
What does success look like? What does failure look like? You want to know what their version of constipation looks like.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, their version of, they feel better. They're not full of shit anymore.
That's right.
Yeah. So if their version, in Grant's situation and in the situation where the client is dictating the design, how do you know what their version of success looks like? Because does picture in my head equal what I've hired someone to do? How can you ever achieve success with that? It's almost impossible to do that. So you need to level up. You need to chunk way up, and you go, okay, great. So you want this website, you want the design to be more exciting. What else? Why is that important to you? Why would that be important? If it was to do that, what would success look like? So let's say after 12 months, client, and this is one of my favorite things to say to clients, like after 12 months, we've achieved that other thing you want, fantastic, and we're high-fiving because it's been such a great result. What has happened? We're looking back, like what actually happened? And usually they say something along the lines of more leads, more sales, or a problem that they have, a constipation, if you will, has been resolved.
That's right.
Their toilet has been unblocked. So you need to get clear on what that is, and ideally it's quantifiable.
Yeah. Kylie Martin has joined in on Facebook and she says, people who have kids always talk about poo. That's exactly right. So she gets it. What?
just the different points we're making. I'm like, so you need to validate with your clients and like help them, and you're like,
I just want to talk about poo. Yeah.
Carly gets it.
Yeah, Zach Chapman said, Troy just needs to take a shit. Monte Cristo said, ha ha ha, like a little child, hashtag gone. Sam Johnson said, I don't know if I've ever seen Troy turn so red. And Mitch Britt said, this is almost as funny as when I had to walk off stage. The problem...
I want to know more about that. Mitch, when did you have to walk off stage?
No, when I had to walk off stage.
Oh, okay.
The problem here, right, is that what I would say, Grant, I would just go back to the client and say, oh, I'm sorry, are you a designer, are you? Are you website designers, are you? Can I see your portfolio? You guys sell elevators, correct? Well, so why don't you get back to selling and installing elevators and let me get back to building and designing websites? Because if you're a designer and you had to design a website, why the fuck did you hire me in the first place?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the conversation you need to have.
Yeah.
You called me, remember?
Yeah.
Right? So just get out of my way and let me do my job. Yeah. Now, obviously, you need to do that in a way that, you know, although if you're about to fire them, you could probably just have that conversation with them anyway, because you're going to fire them. Listen, you're fired as a client. But before you go, I should tell you something. I had a client once come to me and say, listen, this was a huge red flag, right? We've been through 6 or 7 web designers in the last 12 months.
Yeah, can't wait for number 8.
Really? Yeah. Well, this is going to go well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe the problem's not the web designers. Maybe the problem's you. Yeah? Turns out it was. I fired them. I built 2 websites for them and then
yes
fired
as
them.
well.
Yeah, that's right. I said yes.
Didn't realise the red flags at that point. Didn't have the client scorecard available at that point.
Yeah, then I fired them. So the point is that the more questions you ask up front, the more you will understand what it is they are wanting to achieve, and the more you will be in a position to deliver what success is for them. Exactly. And you need to be super, super clear about the criteria of success. Exactly what
I think we've got a little bit of story to share about that, which is our golden nugget for this week.
Oh, very good.
Time to dig into the gold nugget.
Now, is this the story of me taking a dump, or is this the story of the client that I worked with when I first started out? Which
type a 1 or 2 into the comments for which story you want to hear.
Type a 1 if you'd like me to talk more about poo, or a number 2 if you'd like me to talk about the client.
That's backwards, isn't it?
That's right. Kylie Martin also says, this is true, you never get to poo on your own when you've got kids.
Oh, is that what that meant?
Yeah.
I was wondering where that sentence was.
You never get to poo on your own.
Your own something.
Yeah. No, you never get to poo on your own, because the kids just want to come in and just, you know, play in the toilet while you're taking a dump. Yes, and Monte Cristo has said hashtag gold nugget with a smiley face. The wordplay is not lost on him. So when I first started, everyone wants me to talk about poo. Josh, Lee, Erickson, Zach Chapman, they just want me to talk about poo. No one wants to hear the client.
This seems clear.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I should walk off.
Go on. Yeah. So the client project, when I first started working out, I was working with a osteopath clinic named Christian. Hi, Christian. And he said, hey, we need a website. And at that point, I could have said, no worries, easy. We'll spin up a website for you, no problem. We charge about $3,000, which at that time we were charging about $3,000. Happy days. He would have happily paid it. But instead, I said, why do you need a website? I said, let's have a meeting. Why do you need a website? He said, well, you know, for him it was all about being visible on search engines. He'd actually done a lot of research and keyword research, his own research using Market Samurai back then, that fantastic tool that Ed Dale and was promoting, and the guys from Samurai put out.
Market Samurai?
Yeah. What's his name?
I was trying to think of it.
Ben. We've had Ben on the podcast, on a webinar, and yes, anyway, hi Ben if you're watching. They put out a fantastic tool called Market Samurai. So Christian had done his keyword research and he said, look, I want it when people type in these keywords into Google, we come up all over search engine result pages, right? I said, cool, well, that's easy. At that point, I still could have said, let's install WordPress, set up the Yoast SEO plugin, and we'll charge you $3,000, or let's charge you $4,000, and let's be done with it. And he would have happily paid it. Instead I said, why else is it important that you have a new website? And he said, well, mine looks a bit shit and we need to update it. And I said, well, I'm glad you mentioned that, because it does, and we can definitely do that as well. Let's use one of those Studio Press child themes, and let's charge you $5,000 for a nice looking, beautiful website that is, you know, SEO'd for, you know, search results. And he would have happily paid that.
Yeah, but instead, during the conversation, you're not saying the solution.
No,
to him, right?
I'm just asking. I'm just going, hey, cool, fair enough,
like,
that's right.
Yeah, that's just how
correct.
I do that. Cool.
But instead, I just kept saying, why else? And he kept coming back to the search thing, right? And so eventually, I said, okay, out of all the things you've told me, what's the most important reason? And he said the search engine visibility. His words, search engine visibility. I want to be visible all over search engine result pages. I'm like, cool, no worries. We can do this. But then I said, why is that the most important to you? And he was umming and ahhing and blah, 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 and kept repeating himself. And eventually he said, the truth is I'm selling the business. At that point, I realised that if you're selling a business, someone, somewhere, is thinking about buying it. And those people are going to be doing research, and they're probably going to be typing in all these random keywords into Google to see how your search engine visibility strategy is performing. And if it's performing really well, guess what? That adds value to your business, which means you're going to sell it for more cash. So for us, it was a SEV strategy, search engine visibility strategy. It was a combination of Google Maps back then when it was on-page SEO, it was some link building. Back then it was pretty easy to dominate first page of Google. This is back in 2009. He sold the practice. Everyone's a winner, babe. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Yeah,
That's nice.
He paid over $11,000 for the website.
Fantastic. And
Could
we
have
got,
walked away
like,
with
a
three.
huge amount of
Yeah,
value.
could have
out of
walked
that.
away with $3,000 easily.
Yeah, exactly.
I could have walked away with $3,000, but I asked the right questions.
Yeah, yeah. The trouble really is that the client has the problem. They're like, oh, I'm not visible on search. Then they come up with the solution themselves and go, I need someone to build me a website. And then they just say, hey, can you build me a website? They don't come back to the original problem and tell you what that is. So it's your job to ask those questions to actually get back to the original problem, okay?
That's right.
That's right.
You need to get inside the conversation that they're already having with themselves, because they think they've told you why they need a website, but they've just had a conversation in their own head.
Exactly.
Samantha Johnson raises a very interesting point. She says, shouldn't it be number 2 if we want him to talk about poo?
Exactly. That's
it should
right.
be.
Yeah.
It should have been number 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
unfortunately, we can't reshoot this, but that's okay. Sometimes we have some issues,
Yeah.
and please accept our forgiveness.
Yeah.
I mean, our apology? Is
Our
that
apologies.
the one?
Please forgive us.
Please accept.
Please accept our forgiveness.
You're forgiven.
I like that. Yes, you're forgiven
Yeah.
for watching this shit.
Cool. So there you go. So
Yeah.
what kind of tools can we use to sort our shit out? Up next, tool of the week.
Get ready for Tool of the Week.
I do need to apologise for the state of my nose at the moment.
I do need to forgive myself for the state of my nose. What's going on? You got hay fever?
Well, I must have some allergies going on. It's the allergy capital of the world, Melbourne,
Yeah.
and I've been away for the weekend down in Rye.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was great.
Oh, I love Rye. It's beautiful.
Friends of mine, Gary and Michael from Lead Chat, have got a house down there, and they saw me recently and they went, dude, you look like you need a holiday. Here's the keys. Go and stay in our place down in Rye for the week. So I went down there for a few days over the weekend with the family and some friends. It was lovely.
Oh, really?
But now I'm back in the city, and I'm like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. And please, don't leave me any suggestions in the comments about what I can do for my allergies. I've tried everything. And the only thing that really works is Sudafed to dry it up, and which I've got some upstairs, so I'll take that later. And then there's another thing I take, I should take every day, called Allergy, by a brand called Fusion. We're not sponsored by them, by the way, just in case you were wondering, as if we'd be sponsored by a homeopathic.
The logo comes up there.
Fusion Allergy.
Something new we've been working on for this season.
James Gatwood says, I've always thought there should be a hosting and maintenance discussion too. If you're going to sell a website for 5 to 10K, there needs to be an early discussion about these, but ensuring they still have complete control. I mean, why wouldn't you add an extra $600 per year client in recurring income? There you go.
Absolutely right. And I'm interested where you say like ensuring they have complete control, why that's important. I have quite a few clients who don't want complete control at all. They would prefer for us to take care of everything. If they wanted their keys, they could go ahead and drive the thing, but they don't want that. They actually prefer to not have control.
And Zach Chapman says, have you tried asking your allergies more questions, Troy? Which is very good.
Snap.
Hey Siri, why do I have allergies?
Good question.
Wow. Even Siri agrees it's a good question.
Thank you, Siri. Have you got any answers for me?
Yeah. You have to actually press that again, I think. Yeah.
Thank you, Siri. Do you have any answers for me?
You're welcome.
Oh,
She's
Jesus.
good. She's really good. Take her to a client
Now,
meeting.
there is a bit of a segue here, because apart from Siri being useless, the phone is your tool of the week this week, right? Because when we conduct client meetings,
There it is.
that's me watching myself on Facebook. When we conduct client meetings, we record them using just the voice recorder app, which, did you know, does not now come standard with iOS. You have to download it as a separate app.
Was not aware.
There you go. So download the voice recorder app. It's a freebie from the iTunes store. If you don't use Apple products, I'm sorry, your life is so horrible and we can't help you. Sorry, Max. But download the voice recorder software app on your phone and record. Just put it in the middle of the table and say, "I'm going to record this meeting to make sure we don't miss anything." Now, if you're doing it over the phone, just use Skype or whatever to record the call, and then you've got a recording of that meeting and all of their answers, and then if you're very clever, you can trawl through the recording and you can start using their language back to them in the proposals that you write.
That's pretty sneaky.
Yeah.
But what better way to sell someone something than with the words that they use to describe it?
That's right. Exactly.
Pretty clever.
So that's
it's a lot
the tool
less
of the week.
effort and a lot less like pushing the sale on someone when they're like, "Oh, that sounds like a great plan because I came up with it."
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. So there
Very
you
good. All right. What else we got?
Yeah. Well, if you want to learn how to, use the proposal to sell bigger projects for better clients for better fees, then check out the webinar where you can learn about how to do that and a whole lot more. So check that out at wplinks.io/webinar. Now, we've had a few questions from our community. We do have a bunch of different groups. We've got the Mavericks, we've got the Pilots, and the Cadets. We've had a couple of questions from the community, so let's help some people get unstuck.
Let's get unstuck.
First question comes from Mitali Griffin. Mitali says, "Hey guys, I've been thinking about the challenge of drafting up a 10K proposal by working backwards and reverse engineering it from 10K sites that are already out there. The only problem is I am completely naff at valuing sites. I have no idea which sites could be 10K sites. Could anybody point me in the right direction?" First of all, to answer your question, wpelevation.com is definitely more than a 10K site, so there's one to start with. Google.com, I believe, would be more than 10K.
What?
Yeah. New York Times, anything like that. Anything that looks like anything a brand you know of.
Also, in the pilots group, Mitali, is Mitali a pilot?
No.
Ah, well, there's your problem, Mitali. Get in the pilots group. Join the blueprint and get in the pilots group.
Oh, no, she's in cadets.
She's in cadets. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
In the pilots group, Mitali, once you've completed the blueprint, get into the pilots group. There's a whole conversation going on in there about websites that have been built for over a certain amount of money. So there's a whole bunch of links in there of websites that our members have shared that have said, yes, this website's worth 8K. Here's 12. Here's 15. Here's 10. So you'll get access to that once you join the pilots group.
But I actually kind of reversed this and put a different challenge to Mitali, and that's instead of looking at what a 10K proposal could look like, how about what kind of opportunity or problems exist where you could give 30 to 100K of value? So how could a website generate that for a business? What could that be? Could that be more leads? Could that be saving time with admin? What are the different ways that a website could do that? So post in the comments if you have any ideas about that. We actually have a bit of a challenge that I just posted this morning in the cadets group to do that. So I'm interested to see what the brains have to put together on that one.
You know, the easy one is we had this conversation last week in Mavericks, right? Find a niche or a niche that is where you know the business is making, and you can just have, like, we found a cosmetic dentistry niche in Philadelphia last week, and I found a website, and there were 5 partners in this cosmetic dentistry practice, and the 5 dudes all wearing very expensive suits on their website. I know that a one client for a cosmetic dentistry, for example, is worth anywhere from 3 to 15 grand, right? And these guys do not come up on page 1 of Google. They're not running any Google AdWords at all. I just found them through a business directory, and I'm like, getting these guys on a page 1 of Google or running some AdWords for them is a no-brainer. Will instantly get them leads, and those leads are worth 3 to 15 grand each, right? If you can get someone $15,000 worth of new leads a month, you can easily charge them 2 or 3 grand as a retainer to do that. It's a no-brainer.
Exactly.
Right? So that's the kind of thing we're talking about. Just do some, that took me like 5 minutes to find that website, for example. 5 minutes. Business directory website. Cosmetic dentistry is a pretty good niche. I just happen to know that those clients are worth a fair bit, you know. I think one of the problems is that when we first start out, we go after the tiny little small business that has no money because that's where we're comfortable, because it's a confidence thing.
Yeah, and we're not focused on the problems that we're solving. We're focusing on what can we do? Can we design? Can we build websites? You're very, very me focused as opposed to what problem does the client have? How useful would it be to have this problem solved? How valuable would it be to them? Right? We're not focused on that, and that's where we should be paying more attention to. So do that. Mitali?
Yeah.
Next question comes from Janet Morningstar. That's a cool last name. Hi everybody, I have been using the www in my URLs. Is this becoming a thing of the past? Does it matter? Should all new websites omit a www? Any difference from an SEO standpoint? So many questions. I feel like you covered all of them. And my personal take on this is that it doesn't matter either which way. I've seen no evidence which way, but you got to pick one and then stick to it. I prefer to not have it, but if you've already got it, just stick with it and go for it.
The most important thing is that you tell Google Webmaster Tools that if you're not using the www, that the domain without the www is the canonical. And that anything with the www should just automatically, because I've been to websites where I've typed in www dot blah 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 and it says 404, no site found, or even worse, like a 501 server error or something, because they haven't told Google Webmaster Tools that it's the same thing. So most importantly, do a quick Google search for Google Webmaster Tools www or non-www and find the article to make sure that you tell Google Webmaster Tools that you're not using the www, because www is effectively a subdomain of your root domain.
Exactly.
So if your domain is wpelevation.com, then www is effectively a subdomain of wpelevation.com. So just make sure you tell Google what you're doing so it knows. Yeah.
There you go. Your questions answered right there, Janet.
There you go, there's 30 minutes of more shit talking here at Silence is Golden. That was fun. Remember to type in the comments, ask, and we'll send you our proposal template. Is that what we're doing next? Is that the call to action? Yeah?
Nailed it.
So there we go.
Absolutely nailed it.
So if you, what do we do? If you type in, what do they have to do?
Yeah, I just wrote that as well.
Because the whole theme of today's show is to ask more questions.
That's right.
So leave a comment below this video with the word ask, and we will find you and drive around your house and hand deliver you a copy of our proposal template folded up in an envelope. No, we won't actually. We'll send you a copy of our free proposal template that you can use to start selling more websites for higher prices.
Exactly. Perfect. But the key is to ask the right questions first, as you learn in the blueprint. Ask the right questions, pre-frame, and the proposal basically sells itself.
That's right.
But we'll give you the structure to write it.
Yeah.
Hope you've enjoyed this episode. As always, tell your mum, tell your kids, tell your grandmother to come and watch this. If you know someone who would find this useful, any part of this episode through entertainment or education, please let them know. It'd be great to share this around and see if other people could get some value from this as well.
Now, if you don't mind, I need to go take a shit.
As always, until next time, he's Troy Dean.
He's Simon Kelly, and remember, knowledge is power.
And silence is golden.